Welcome to the Sleep Dives channel. We're diving into the final chapters of Flow Engineering by Steve Pereira, focusing on value stream management and, maybe most importantly, how you can scale these improvements across an entire organization. Okay, so here's the game plan. We'll start with the common challenges of adopting value stream management, then we'll zoom right into a single success story to see how it's done, before zooming back out to see the whole enterprise as a network. And finally, we'll get to the really exciting part: how to create a self-sustaining cycle of improvement. Right, first things first. Before we can even think about scaling, we have to get off the starting blocks. But adopting value stream management, or VSM for short, well, it has some significant challenges right from the get-go. And this is such a key point from Peter Senjay. This isn't just about new software or a new process chart. At its heart, this is a human challenge. It's all about building a shared understanding and trust. Without that, nothing else matters. So you've got this amazing concept, VSM. The promise is huge, right? Better flow, higher quality, more value. But so many organizations just get completely stuck before they even start. And it usually comes down to three classic recurring problems. First up is what's called the alignment gap. Think about it. Implementing a proper VSM platform can be a multi-million-dollar investment. Trying to get every single stakeholder to sign off on that kind of money without a rock-solid shared plan, well, that is a very, very tough sell. Next, you've got the visibility gap. It's so tempting to think that a new tool will magically give you all the answers. But raw data without context is just noise. If you map things out first, you create that shared mental model, which is what gives the data its real meaning. And finally, there's the on-ramp gap. Look, going all in on VSM from day one is incredibly risky. The much smarter way is to start small. But that means you have to find the perfect candidate, the one value stream that will prove this whole concept is worth it. And this is exactly where flow engineering comes in to de-risk that whole process. Okay, enough with the abstract problems. Let's get real and zoom into a single, tangible example of what this journey actually looks like for a real person in a real company. So meet Phil from a company called Parchment. His journey shows this really clear, logical evolution. But pay close attention to the order of events here, because it's absolutely crucial. He started with the theory, then moved to the practice, and only then did he introduce the tooling. That sequence is everything. It ensures the tools serve the process, not the other way around. Now this is the really interesting part, the shift in what they actually measured. You can see they moved completely away from individual scrutiny, things like lines of code or utilization, which are so easy to game, and they shifted their entire focus to collective flow, measuring team metrics and real outcomes instead of just busy work. And I mean, just look at this contrast. It brilliantly shows the difference. Team A goes down that typical, painful, slow path. Uncertainty is high for months. But Team B, using flow engineering, maps things out first. They slash that uncertainty down to days, they get quick wins, and they build momentum. The on-ramp goes from months to literally days. All right, so we've figured out how to master a single stream. We're feeling confident. Now it's time to zoom back out. But this time we're not going to see the organization as some rigid hierarchy on an org chart. We're going to see it for what it truly is, a dynamic, interconnected network. And here's where things get really exciting. As you start mapping this network, you'll begin to see that many, many different value streams share the exact same constraints. So if you can fix a single bottleneck that's holding back a dozen teams, the return on that investment is enormous. We're talking orders of magnitude greater. Okay, so to map this network, we basically need a grid with two axes. The first axis is a spectrum from developmental to operational. You can think of it like this. Building a brand new feature is very developmental, while processing a customer's monthly subscription is purely operational. Our second axis is all about purpose. Is this stream core, or is it supportive? A product sales stream is obviously core. It's delivering value directly to the customer. But the internal IT help desk that keeps the sales team's computers running, that's a crucial supportive stream. So you take these two axes and you start plotting each value stream as a node on the map. Then you connect those nodes to show the dependencies. And what emerges isn't just a diagram, it's a powerful visual representation of how work actually gets done, where the real connections are, and most importantly, where those critical dependencies lie.
But here's the thing, a map is an essential guide, but it doesn't create movement on its own. To truly scale improvement across the whole organization, you need to build systems and communities that actively encourage continuous learning and provide support right across that entire network.
We've all been there, right? Teams are almost always busy, operating at or beyond full capacity. And as Stephen Covey's classic analogy reminds us, they often feel way too busy sawing to ever stop and sharpen the saw. This is where dedicated enabling teams and learning communities are just invaluable.
So these specialized flow-enabling teams, they tend to work in one of two modes. They can be reactive, swooping in to help when a problem pops up, like a sudden drop in performance, or, and this is the goal, they can be proactive, regularly working with teams to build their skills, share new techniques, and just generally raise the bar over time. They effectively become this central hub for improvement. And because they're working with so many different teams, they start to see the patterns that no single team could ever spot on its own. They can then facilitate workshops, coach others, and scale that learning for everyone's benefit.
Okay, this brings us to the grand finale, the concept that ties this all together. The idea of creating a self-sustaining, ever-accelerating cycle of improvement. This is what's known as the flow flywheel. The flywheel effect starts small. A tiny, low-cost investment, like a single mapping session, leads to a few quick wins. Those wins improve performance, which creates a bit more capacity. You then reinvest that new capacity into tackling slightly bigger improvements, which in turn generates even more capacity. It's a virtuous cycle that builds unstoppable momentum. So, what's your first move? How do you actually get started with this tomorrow? It's way simpler than you might think. Just start a conversation. In a single 30-minute meeting, you can create a simple outcome map with your team. Ask the basic questions. What are we actually trying to achieve, and what's getting in our way? The simple act of creating that map together builds the shared ownership you need to get the flywheel turning. And that really brings us to the final critical question. Forget the grand 5-year transformation plan. A large-scale transformation doesn't start with a big plan. It starts with a single, small victory. So the question for you is this. What is the one small win you can achieve that could start your flywheel spinning?